Anthem and Apex Legends, two games that were published by EA with two drastically different results. In this week's episode, we take a look at what went right and what went wrong. This is Advanced Level, a video game podcast, and the podcast starts right now. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Advanced Level, a video game podcast. My name is Felipe Parada. With me, as always, is Oscar Portillo. Oscar, what's going on, my man? It feels like it's been a while since we've spoken.
Yeah, it's been a minute. More than a few minutes.
And a lot has happened within that minute.
Yes.
A lot has happened. And I just wanted to go briefly into how much of a terrible season we had in Overwatch.
It's you know, I've been playing for a long time.
No, I know, and that's my. I know you have at least easily. You're coming up to 500 hours now.
I'm not embarrassed to say that, but it's been bad.
Yeah.
I can't. That's for another podcast, but
No,
it's been bad.
And it seems like that's sort of the general feeling across the board.
Yeah, you read the thread and stuff.
The thread is we're not the only ones. Like a lot of people just had a terrible season, and it's interesting to see other people's assessment of what's been going on. I thought it was just me. I thought it was just you because, like I said, we can have an entire podcast about this, but I did everything within my power to try to play for, and I would have to say I do fairly well. I do a decent job, and I play as Moira, which is one of the hardest characters to play with because I like to complicate my life, and it's
a good character. I don't think it's a bad character. She's a good healer. She's not a bad character.
Yeah, and it's just
out of the new ones, she's probably the best one.
No matter what I did, it just didn't. Nothing was working. Nothing was working, and I think this was the very first time that I've played Overwatch. And mind you, last time I checked, I have 25 hours logged in. This was the very first time I experienced smurfing, which I've heard about, but I've never gotten a chance to experience it.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't understand why people do that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that really frustrated me, and it took me out of the game. Once you get to that second or third loss, you're not getting out. It's difficult mentally to get that momentum back.
We should have stopped. We should have stopped.
Yeah, how many games did we play? We went well over the allotted matches that we should have gone because we were just, no matter what we did, we were just losing.
I don't know why. Sometimes you get into like I don't know how to call it. Sometimes you get into a mode where you just want to keep going.
Yeah, you said
the next one. It's almost like gambling.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's a very good way to put it. Because in your mind, you think, no, this next one, it's going to be all round.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're like
We're going to turn around the next one.
10 matches
We're
in.
get on a hot streak.
And remember, I was texting you. Listen, this isn't working. No, we're good. Next round's going to be our round.
No, but I said that sarcastically.
No, I know.
A point where I knew we were going to lose. First of all, when you said that, we were 2 or 3 matches in. We had already changed players at that point.
We did, yes. Yeah.
It seemed like maybe it's us.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. I thought it was us until I started reading the threads.
No, I know.
And then I'm thinking, okay, it's not only me. There is an abundance of players that are suffering the same, well, not losing, but they had that general feeling of this season just plain sucked.
The quality is down.
But that's the thing. Like, I haven't been into it as much as you have. Now, what do you mean by quality? Like, just the type of players? People just don't care anymore? Like, that never really made sense to me.
The composition of the teams.
Yeah, because I hear you use that word a lot. The comp isn't there. Somebody needs to change and once you start getting into it, like really from a competitive standpoint, everything that you're saying makes sense. There was this one term that one of the pros used while I was watching videos on Brigitte about players. My mistake playing as Brigitte was you cannot play her as an aggressive support character, which was my mistake. You getting pulled out. And I was going up against a tank, and Brigitte against
You're always going to lose against a tank.
You're always going to lose against a tank. Like you said, it probably is me. I was just making...
No, I don't. You can't blame on one person. I'm not that stupid to always one person. No, it's never one person, but the composition is important for me. Right. And I don't think people do it right. And then they don't play the right way, I think.
No, it makes sense, and you can definitely tell. It
I've
shows.
seen warriors where they never heal. I get it, where you're warrior, you kind of get into a mode where you want to attack all the time, and you almost forget that she had the healing.
Yeah, and the thing is, if played correctly, she is a very, very effective damage output.
Right, but when you're running her and the other healer, if you have two healers and they're not doing their job,
Exactly. Yeah.
or Zenyatta, when you're Zenyatta,
Yeah, which
and
we.
you're throwing the purple orbs, again you get into like a thing where like I want to attack, and you almost forget about the healing aspect.
Yeah, because we have this mentality where you want to attack, attack, attack because we've been not conditioned or programmed, but that's sort of the games that we've been playing. It's very rare that we're getting these type of games that, you're really supposed to work together as a team. The chemistry is supposed to be there, the composition is supposed to be there, and people forget that you're not only supposed to attack. And it's funny that we're saying this about this game, because one game that I've been playing,
Right.
sort of on the side, that literally came out of nowhere. And you know which game I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah, we all know.
Apex Legends, which right now is a game that's absolutely killing it right now.
Literally. I mean, like we said, we haven't been able to talk about this, but or I think we were. I'm not sure. This game just came out one day. I think that's how it was, right? It just came out.
There was a live stream. Respawn Entertainment was showing, hey, this is this game that we've worked on, and you notice the keywords that they were using: 3v3 squads, which is a total of, I believe, 20 squads, 60 players total.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, it's out right now. Now, you want to talk about a panic that this, I guess, type of release garnered? It was beyond anything I've ever witnessed, because I found out about it through Forbes magazine, which I didn't know that they do games now.
I don't know how they got into that, but that's another story, I guess.
Yeah, but really,
I don't know what the deal is, how they got into they see money in that.
And shout out to Forbes.com, because for them to be doing games, like I've been reading a lot of their articles, and they're very well done. That's the only reason I found out about Apex Legends.
Right.
So whatever, I'm like, you know what? It's the new game. You know me. I like to try games out. I like to feel it out. Even though me personally, like I've said before in previous podcasts, I completely suck at battle royale games.
Yeah,
I suck. There's a very small group that are pretty much they dominate any type of battle royale game. Fortnite, PUBG, H1Z1, whichever other sort of battle royale-ish game out there. There's a small selective group that just dominate that category. So once Apex came out and I found out it was squads of 3, maybe this might be different. You know what? Let me give it a shot. They say it fits within the what's that?
The Titanfall.
The Titanfall universe.
Yeah, that's how I heard about it.
Yeah, it's a new game.
Is it a sequel or is it what is that? No. It's in the universe, but it's a separate, a side story, I guess.
Yeah, and nobody still has been able to pinpoint where within the Titanfall universe this falls in. When I loaded it up, and remind you, this game literally just came out. There was no beta. There was nothing.
Right.
Nobody even knew that this game was being worked on. When you load up the game, by far one of the most polished games you will play. Feels like
that's what I've read. I haven't played it for my own reasons.
Yeah, for your own and I was reluctant to play it as well. But I'm like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Maybe, and mind you, I've already played Fortnite. I've already played H1Z1. I have accepted the fact that I am just not good at Battle Royale.
But I think because it was. Why do you think? Was it more just want to try it, or just at that point?
I think it was one of two things. It was the aspect of the marketing. I thought it was brilliant marketing.
Yeah.
And secondly was the fact that it's squad-based Battle Royale. So there's that chance that it might go a little better because you're still focused on a team, the composition, the other players, rather than just going out by yourself.
Right.
I can't tell you how many games I've played, but the one thing I can tell you is I've won a minimum of at least 6 matches.
That's a good average.
Yeah, but then again, I don't remember how many games I've played because there are matches that I've lasted till the end. There have been matches that I literally get killed as soon as I land. So it's difficult to.
How many hours do you think?
I don't even know because there's no way to keep track of it either.
No, I know, but how in
my opinion, I think I've put in since its release. I want to say
since you downloaded it.
Since I want to say a good 15 to 20 hours.
Okay, it's not bad.
and there's 8 characters, and because there's one trophy that you have to win a match with each character. 2 of them are locked, and either you could buy them outright or you can grind, and it's a hefty grind.
So can you, from what I understand, they kind of borrowed from Overwatch a little bit as far as the loot box.
Yeah,
system.
The loot box system is pretty much identical to Overwatch. Everything is skins. You have weapon skins, player skins, you have banners. What else? You have like animations, like intro animations. You have you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's very identical to Overwatch, and even I mentioned this to you before. Even the character design is very similar to Overwatch. It's very colorful. The characters are very distinguished. Some characters are very serious. Some characters are very quirky, and it reminded me exactly of Overwatch. Each character has its own special abilities too.
Do they have other, like, several, or just one ability?
You have an ultimate, and
Okay.
then you have each character has a passive ability, an ability
Okay.
an ability that you activate. And I'll give you an example. There's a character called Wraith.
Okay.
She's a phaser. She phases in and out. Her passive ability is she can tell your squad if there's somebody close to you. That's her passive ability.
Okay.
And she'll say it out loud. Oh, there's somebody close.
Okay.
And then you warn your team, and then you're on the defensive. Her active ability, she teleports.
Okay.
Like Tracer, exactly like Tracer. She can teleport short distances. But that ability is kind of like a get out of jail free card. Like if you're being attacked, you teleport out, and that's it. It'll give you some breathing room.
Right. Okay.
Her ultimate, okay, is like what's her name? Is it not Farah? The one that puts all the turrets in Overwatch.
Oh, it's Symmetra?
Symmetra. She puts the teleporters. If you time it, you could literally teleport from one end of the map to the other, and your team can use that as well. But the downside is the enemies could use that teleporter as well.
Oh, wow, okay. So
It's a double-edged sword.
okay.
So you have to know where to place them, when to place them, before shit really hits the fan. And it's that type of composition. You have the healer, you have the phaser, you have the assault, which throws down, I don't want to say mortars, but it's like an airstrike.
Okay.
Not only is it battle royale, but it's very Overwatch-ish.
You need a little bit of strategy.
You need a little bit of strategy. And for the most part, I'm thoroughly enjoying this iteration of battle royale because it's team-based. It's not, Fortnite, it's not H1Z1, it's not PUBG. This one's a little bit more fantasy style, like sci-fi.
Right, I got that.
And
Yeah.
if there's one thing that Respawn knows how to do, they know how to make first-person shooters.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good history with that. So I wouldn't... And the game is polished, right, as far as I know.
It feels like a AAA polished game. And the shooting mechanics are so good.
Yeah, I mean, you expect that from Respawn.
It's up there with, like, Destiny, Call of Duty. It's just polished.
You wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, you don't expect anything less. But what's kind of surprised me a little bit was how well it ran. Like, I'm like, wow, not one dropped match, no hiccups, nothing. And I'm thinking, wow, they just released this, no beta, no nothing, and it's ready to go.
Well, I mean, not to bring that parade, but I have heard of people having issues here and there on Reddit and stuff.
Yeah, but I read
But
some
again,
of those too.
I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm just saying that I've heard. But you're right. For the most part, it looks really polished. It looks really good.
But believe me when I tell you, I have not had one issue.
No, I believe you. Again,
Not one.
It looks...
It's funny because I was reading some tweets about some of the development issues that Respawn had with EA. And check this out. I did not realize this, which kind of makes sense. Respawn Entertainment worked on Apex Legends behind EA's back.
Is that as a tweet, or was you read that?
I forgot. It was a Zampanella who issued the tweet, and I'm paraphrasing. We don't mean to throw EA under the bus, but once we had Apex Legends done, we approached EA, the offices, and say, listen, this is the game that we finished. We need your help to get it out there. So
No, I mean, I don't know the politics of that, I guess. Like, wouldn't EA kind of have some knowledge of that? I don't know.
they had no knowledge.
But
of
I
Respawn.
just don't... How did that work? That they just, here's a game, can release it? I don't understand how that works.
Well, at first, now, then again, these are just what I've been reading on Reddit and all the other forums. EA was reluctant at first to release it, but what sort of got them over the hump was the fact that they showed them the microtransaction format, how they were able to monetize this game. And I think that kind of tickled EA's, money bone, I would have to say, for them to say, okay, we're gonna release Apex Legends. Because
but there was no way they could know it was going to be.
That's the thing. According to the tweets, it made it seem like Respawn Entertainment did this without EA's knowledge. Okay,
that's what they're insinuating.
And I have my theories too.
I find that hard to believe.
Exactly, I find it hard to believe as well. But if you look at the, Apex Legends is hot right now. Like it's sizzling. Okay, it's
white hot.
If you look at the reviews, rave reviews. Everybody loves it. Now, if you look at the other side of the coin, another game that EA has been heavily involved in that just came out a week ago, Anthem.
Yeah.
Okay, which has not received favorable reviews. I mean, I don't like to look.
I think it's down the middle a little bit. It's good and bad.
It's good and bad. Now, I don't like to look at Metacritic, but as of right now, the user score for Metacritic for Anthem is at a 4.
For the what? 10 or 100?
I think it's out of 10. The Metascore still hasn't been released yet. It's at a 6 on PC. On consoles, there's no Metascore, but the user score is 4 out of 10.
I mean, I think people just want to hate that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to go on Metacritic because I feel like that's just an avenue for people just to bash a game that doesn't really need to be bashing. Now, in Anthem,
you have the game.
I have the game.
Tell us what you think.
Here's the thing. Anthem, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Anthem shouldn't be getting all the hate that it's getting right now. This whole thing it's not fair to put it all on Anthem.
Right.
As far as the bad reviews, it has no content, like whatever the case may be, whatever issues you have with Anthem, it really isn't with Anthem. It's just the way the industry standards are nowadays, especially when it comes to live games or games that are advertised as games as a service.
Right, the service.
Because technically, if you're looking at it strictly from a games as a service standpoint, EA and BioWare pretty much sold you an empty cabinet. And throughout the course of the year, they're going to fill those empty shelves.
Now, again, you have the game. So yes. You can tell me, or you can tell us, is that accurate? Is the cabinet empty?
No, the cabinet isn't as empty as people are making it out to be. Okay, and I'll explain why. I have the game. You and I had a chance to play the demo.
Right.
And what surprised me about the demo was the fact that there was a certain point, and if you fast forward, you can check it out on our YouTube page. If you fast forward to minute 4:25, and I actually went back and I watched it, it almost sounds like you're laughing. It's like a little chuckle.
Right.
I was a little bit taken back because when it comes to you're very, I wouldn't say strict, but you're a little bit harsher.
What?
When it comes to certain games.
You're right.
Now, just to give you a quick background, I'm the type of person, I'm a little bit more lenient with games. I'm a little bit more forgiving. I am the type of person who bought Metal Gear Survive day one.
Right.
Okay, so that should just give you an indication of where I stand. Now, in terms
You're going to always find a way to get that game mentioned in every round.
Yeah. That's my goal. At least once. Okay? When it comes to Anthem, the game is super fun to play.
Right.
I don't need to tell you how much fun it is flying around in Anthem. Okay, it has good voice acting. It has good facial animations, which I guess it didn't happen that way in Mass Effect Andromeda. And it took a lot of the Mass Effect Andromeda, I guess, gameplay mechanics. There is a loot grind, which if you've played games like Destiny and if you played games like The Division, you understand what the grind loop is. This should be no surprise to players how these live games as a service, how they run.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
Yeah,
that's the grind.
That's the grind. But
again, I want to reiterate, or ask again, in your opinion, is there enough content for? Have you run through all the content yet?
No, I have not run through all the content yet because
I've been break it down a little bit. Like what?
I've been pacing myself. As far as
you purposely,
I'm thoroughly enjoying the game, and I like to do that. I like to pace myself.
But can you break it down a little bit? What like the campaign and then side mission? Can you?
So not to give any other story away, but
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
I just want to know campaign and then side missions?
Obviously, everybody knows that you play as a freelancer, and you
Right.
go through there's the main story, there's contracts, and then there's actually has to build down to the main story, contracts, and free play.
Okay.
Okay, now you have different factions that'll all, I think, three factions right now.
This sounds a lot like Destiny.
You know what? It is very Destiny-ish. That I will agree with you on. It follows along the lines as far as mission structure of Destiny, and that
And you
kind
in a demo when we were walking around the, I wanted to say tower, but I know it's something else. Whatever, the home base, whatever it's called. It just felt like Destiny.
yeah, and it was very, it is Destiny-ish, the good and the bad.
Huh, so there's a lot of, so the free, what's it called, free play?
Free play is technically like it's free roam.
Okay, so you can just kind of,
You could just fly around,
and get materials and
get
stuff?
materials, fight enemies, do whatever it is that you want to do.
Okay.
As far as the free play is concerned, that's where I feel there's the least amount of content, because all you do is just fly around, you attack enemies. Yeah, there's some, I guess you would have to say, random events, or what they call the world events, but there's not enough of it for you to say, yeah, I just want a free play.
Okay.
They do have challenges where you have to go out and you have to look for certain items, you have to get a certain amount of kills with each weapon, so a lot of the content is the story and the contracts, but mostly it comes from contracts. Depending on which faction you talk to, they will give you their own specific contracts. And there's enough content there for you to have that grind loop. You want a specific weapon, you want a specific item, you want a specific crafting material, contracts is where to go.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it makes up for it.
What's the currency?
Currency is credits.
Okay, just credit.
Yeah, there's credits, there's crafting material, and I believe they're not called, I want to say Ingrams, but they're not called Ingrams. They're called something else. Where, you need if you want to craft a certain blueprint, you need obviously specific crafting material. So there's other currency as well on top of whatever the credits are.
Okay.
The one thing and that's where it's kind of like people are comparing it to Destiny, and they're not liking the fact that, listen, Destiny came out, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and yet it still feels like Destiny for all the good and all the bad. And I think that's where people are really starting to like, hey, wait a minute, we've played this game already. Why are we playing it again?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like, you tell me, does it do anything new? Is there anything new? Is there anything?
See,
maybe the gameplay.
You're asking all the right questions, but the problem is right now, as it stands, the game is it's too brand new. They haven't had the time to fill in those shelves yet. Now let's real quick. Let's look at the review standpoint, okay? And this is where a lot of people started noticing that it started going downhill. For some strange reason, EA had this very convoluted spreadsheet of how the game was going to be released.
Right. No, I get that.
That right there shouldn't have happened.
I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a big deal. To be really honest with you.
I think it is, and I'll tell you why. The people who paid the the EA Origins Access Premium Edition, which is like $100 a year.
I don't know what that is. Okay.
That's like their top tier,
the best money you can get.
Yeah, that's the best money can get. Those people got the worst part of Anthem. They got the worst version of the game because
I don't
remember,
know what do you mean by that.
They got a chance to play the game a week before everybody else.
Okay.
This was technically the early access build of Anthem. People weren't able to log in. Everything about that game was buggy. Challenges weren't being tracked properly. You got stuck in an infinite load screen. Enemies would disappear.
But you get early access. That's what it's called.
Exactly. You get the early access. But everybody was reviewing this game based on the early access build. Because guess what? It comes out with a day 1 patch. And what I didn't realize was there was a day 2 patch as well. So now your game that was reviewed is already obsolete. It's already an old build of the game. So technically,
that's fair, but I don't think. Yeah, we said this previously. The early adopters will always get screwed.
Exactly, and the people who paid the most money, the people who were paying top of the line, got the worst part of the game. And technically, our day 1 patch is their 1 week later patch.
Again, I just don't. You know what you're getting into.
No, and remember what I told you, and I've said this in previous podcasts. I went into Anthem with very little or no expectations. Yeah. None. And I do believe that helped me a little bit. Because
you played the demo and you were like, oh, this is pretty good.
It's pretty good. Only because I was able to see it for its potential. and it does have a lot of potential. I mean, let's look at this new system, the alliance system, that I have never seen in any other game.
Okay, so what's
The
that?
alliance system relies heavily on your friends list and other people who are playing Anthem. So
Okay.
let me give you an example. Let's say I have it, you have it, Gabe has it, Mario has it, and let's say one more person. We'll say my brother.
Okay.
That's 5 people that actually have the game. Okay, and let's say for shits and giggles, there are 3 other people on my friends list that have this game. So that's
Okay.
a total. That's a total of 8 people. They're all playing the game. They're all contributing. What ends up happening is the game kind of forces you, or they give you more of an incentive to play with other people. They give you more rewards, more money,
Okay.
more experience, so on and so forth. Now, if everybody is playing the game at once, what ends up happening is not the experience, but the credits that you earn within those missions goes into a pool. The top 5 players on your friends list, depending on who they are,
Okay.
they all put in money into that pool. And at the end of every week, you get that money. That
The
money,
top player gets them.
no. Whoever the top five players
okay.
are in your friends list, that money goes directly to you.
I see.
So, and the example I had 3 people on my friends list. Each one of them were up to tier 7. I believe there's 10 tiers. They were up to tier 7. I got an additional 5,000 credits just for their performance.
Okay.
So
That's a decent. That's an interesting idea.
it is an interesting idea because you rely heavily on, okay, if you play with other people, there's an incentive. If you play with people that are in your friends list, the incentive doubles or even triples.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so there's like they want you to play with other people.
And the game is only PvE, so
yeah, so there's pros and cons to that too, because when you're playing with other people, the experiences that I had, I'm always trying to play catch up because there's always that one guy who's off doing his own thing and who's trying to speed run the whole mission. So you're playing catch up, and unfortunately, when you're doing catch up, you miss vital clues from the story mission.
okay, but you can always play
Yeah,
again.
you can always play it again, but it's those like everything has a pros and cons. It's a double-edged sword.
Right. Yeah.
And BioWare has always been known for sort of the single-player game. You have a cast of characters. It's that interaction between those 2 characters, or between the 3 or the 4, however many are in your party, and somehow that's been removed in order for you to be substituted with actual players.
How far are you in the campaign?
It's hard to say. I feel like I'm about a quarter of the way through. I mean,
Is it normal sci-fi?
Yeah, it's sci-fi. You know, it feels Avatar.
Again, did the campaign feel something new, or like, oh, there's the same crap, same sci-fi
You know what? That's a
BS that we've always seen?
Yeah, I mean, every story kind of feels the same, but like they say, people who watch porn, do you really want to watch it for the story?
I guess so.
But the story is good. I mean, the voice acting is very believable. You tend to gravitate.
I mean, you pay for a game and the campaign. You want something to chew on. You want something to come out of it.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm enjoying the campaign. I think it's a relatively good campaign. The thing is that it's believable. Like you really feel for some characters. You kind of pull for some characters. You hate others. So
that to me was the weakest part of Destiny.
Yes, I would definitely agree. Like the story just made no sense. This one does. This one, for the most part, it does make sense. You're working towards something. You're trying to defeat an enemy, the enemy who wants to rule the galaxy or whatever the case may be. But it's what happens along the way.
Okay.
It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Other people may tell you differently. Other people may have a different experience. But for me, for the most part, I'm enjoying Anthem for everything that it's good about it and everything that's bad.
Okay. I mean, we're talking about these 2 games. I mean, but they are very different.
They are, and that's the thing. They're 2 completely different games, both published by EA. Okay, and they're 2 completely different outcomes. So
it's interesting that released Apex around this time before Anthem.
Yeah, because remember, EA did that also with another Respawn game. Remember, Titanfall 2.
Right.
They released Titanfall 2, like really, they sandwiched it in. It was like Call of Duty, Titanfall 2, and then Battlefield 1. And Titanfall 2 got the shit end of the stick because it was from what I've read, from what I hear other people saying, It's an amazing game.
Yeah,
But
I've heard the same thing.
it's just the way that it was released that there was no way for that game to succeed because of what
Yeah, it was
EA did.
impossible.
It was impossible.
Call of Duty
It was
and
impossible.
Battlefield 1.
And I feel that based on that information, you have the same publisher, two completely different studios, two completely different outcomes. How can you not believe the fact that Respawn Entertainment released it or worked on this game without EA knowing it?
I just don't believe it. There's too many people in the corporation to not know something about it.
You honestly don't think that there was some rogue splinter group that is like, yeah, we're gonna work on a game. You know, this is good. This is gonna be big.
I think you've been watching too many Black Mirror or something.
I mean, because let's face it. I mean, I work for a
It's
corporation.
still a simple slip of an email or
No, you're right.
somebody talking out too loud.
No, you're right, because I work in a corporation, and in every corporation you have teams that work on concept projects, or they work on projects that they don't have the money allocated for, but you still tend to work on it because you think that it's somewhere down the line. You know, this project is going to get picked up, or somebody's going to look at it and be like, hey, you know, just give me more information. So I understand, like, yeah, it's very difficult in a corporate setting. Everybody, and there's always that one person sends the wrong email to the wrong
You
person.
CC the wrong person.
CC the wrong person, or you're at, oh yeah, we're working on a project. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
so I just don't believe.
No, yeah, in that aspect you're right, but
In
I
the
mean,
corporate setting, I just don't.
look at the results though.
No, I'm not
Look at
saying
the results.
the results are not there. But what I'm saying is, I don't believe EA didn't know about it. They probably let them work on it or something, but I just don't believe they didn't know about it. I think they did know about it, but they kind of let them do their own thing.
I don't know, man. I honestly believe that EA probably knew about it, or they probably got the okay.
There's no benefit to. I mean, I'm sorry, there is a benefit, but
But just look, we had prior to the release of Apex, we had not even a screenshot, not even a mention, not even, because you know how sometimes projects get leaked, like, Respawn Entertainment, there's a job opening
no, I
for a
know.
new
But
game.
again, it's something they kept quiet about. I
No,
think
like-
you can do it, but I don't think it's something that they didn't keep from EA. Again, EA is paying the money, right?
That's impressive though. Like for them to be so hush hush about it, and absolutely not one leak, not one. And you know,
EA is still paying the checks.
yeah, of course, they needed
So
they
you
needed
have
EA.
to tell them where this money is going.
I guess, yeah. It's
I mean, there's no blank check. That's not the way EA works. That's not any corporation works. I mean, they have to tell them something. Now, what extent? Maybe they had to know. Come on, it's still a corporate environment. I just think it doesn't work that way. Especially if they're not just gonna write blank checks just to be, do whatever you want.
yeah. I've been watching way too much Netflix and
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror and stuff, and watching Community and all this other. Yeah, like I've been watching way too much of that stuff because I read this stuff and then I try to like fill in the blanks with my own story. Like, yeah, there was a splinter group and they said, FEA, we're going to do what we want. And, there was this very heroic type of speech and everybody's on board.
You can't say FEA and then ask him to write the check.
That would be a perfect world, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you know what?
EA
Go to
is
hell.
still publishing the game. They're still putting the game out. It's still by EA.
Yeah,
As much as you don't want it to be by EA, it is.
You know what, EA? You can go to hell. But before you go to hell, can you write us this check for this game?
Yeah, sorry, it just doesn't. I do believe I will say this, maybe they didn't, how can I say this? Maybe they weren't so hands-on about it. I mean,
Do you think there's a possibility that they probably hid this game behind another project that EA did know about?
Again, but then I don't see what's the benefit of that.
No, because I do believe that,
They can make 2 games and then get release 1.
what I'm thinking is they were probably working on a game that, EA wanted. They had the money allocated to that one project. Somehow, some way during the development process, which does happen. I've sure have experienced this being a designer. You tend to start designing something and then you realize that, wow, we actually may have something. Let's work on this instead. No, but I completely get what you're saying.
No, I hear what you're saying. Maybe they started doing one thing and it turned into Apex. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that you're right. EA has money allocated, and I'm pretty sure they know exactly where all the money's going.
Yeah, they know to the penny where everything's going.
Of course, it's EA. They have to.
I guarantee it's not just EA. It's the company, the corporation. every corporation knows where every cent is going.
So maybe they were working on a project that EA wanted, and it just so happens that they ended up developing Apex. And we say,
Maybe
listen,
somehow turned into Apex.
yeah, and it could have been that they were working on the next Apex, but it wasn't called Apex.
Not even Titanfall.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they were working on concepts for the new Titanfall.
Well, you know what they're saying now, right? That they still have a big announcement coming down the line.
So you think it's Titanfall 3?
That's what everybody's saying, but they're not, they're being quiet about it.
It would have to be Titanfall 3, especially
That's
with
what we would assume it's Titanfall 3.
especially with the momentum they have after Apex. It has to be Titanfall 3. Or maybe Apex Legends is the prequel to Titanfall 3.
Again, you play the game. Is there any lore? Is there any or just play? It's just
That's the thing. I haven't had the time because once you're in the map, you don't have time to linger. You don't have look at that or look at this because you know how some people they like to look at all the small details. There's no time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. You're hiding from people. You're trying to attack people. You're trying to get
but there's
shot at.
Even some games have it in the menu and stuff or nothing at all.
The weapon design is very Titanfall-ish. And
we know it's in the Titanfall universe. We know that. What I'm asking though is, there's no story element anywhere to read something or no video, nothing.
None
okay, no, that's what I want to know. There's no. Some games they have it in the pause menu
there
or
is
loading screen.
But it's the character bio.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure within, and you know what? Now that you said that, I'm gonna go and read the character bios because they're very short. There's some sort of secret code in there, and you know what? That's very interesting. I'm actually gonna go back and read it now, because
for the most part, you would say that there isn't any kind of lore at all.
No, from my experience, no, there is no lore.
I mean, all we know is it's in the Titanfall universe, but we don't know.
That has been confirmed that it's set within the Titanfall universe. But as far as the lore, it's still up in the air, and that's the thing. They can take it anywhere.
Right. Yeah. What do you think it is? Is it a prequel? I mean, first of all, have you even played Titanfall, the first one or the second?
I played the first one. I was going to pick up the second one, but between Titanfall 3 and Battlefield 1, I chose Battlefield 1. So I was like, damn, I still.
But now you can find it for like $5 or something.
Yeah, I definitely plan on getting Titanfall 3 now. I mean Titanfall 2. I wouldn't be surprised, and I know I'm going out there, like out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Apex Legends is a television show that's set within the Titanfall universe.
Now you really.
I warned you. I told you.
You did say that.
Out there. I wouldn't.
What makes you say that?
What's a dead giveaway, right? Is the announcer.
Oh. Okay.
If you have seen Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
When somebody dies, there's an announcement. It's the same thing. They say, the kill leader has just been eliminated. Or there is a new kill leader. Like there's announcements in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
So those announcements, they're very TV-like. Like you're watching an arena battle.
Okay.
So as I'm playing, I'm like, that would be interesting if Apex Legends is some sort of like TV show like a la Running Man, something like that.
Maybe it's like you ever seen the movie Death Race?
Yes.
Maybe it's something like I don't know, they're all prisoners or something. they have to fight their way out.
Yeah, because there's no backstory. I mean, they do have backstories, but there's no reason why they're all there.
And you haven't heard any kind of a comic or
nothing,
YouTube?
Nothing. But there was one interesting thing that Vince, not Zampanella, but the people who developed Apex Legends. I don't know why it took me so long to think of that. When you're playing the game, and this is specifically what they said, when you're first dropped into the map, the biggest mistake people make is they treat it as a battle royale game. Even though it is a battle royale game, treat it like the very early stages when you're trying to find weapons, you're supposed to treat it as an arena shooter, not a battle royale game. The battle royale game comes at the later portions of the game. And I'm thinking, why would he say that? I understand he's trying to provide tips on how to play the game or how to quote unquote get good.
Right.
And he's like, wow, so the early stages, you have to treat it as an arena shooter. You got to be looking to kill people. You can't do the whole hide and seek thing because it's just not going to work. You have to go in it. You have to purposefully drop yourself in the middle of the action because that's the way technically it's supposed to be played, and that's how you're going to get better as a player.
I think it's the guys from Call of Duty, so they're gonna they're some of the best at this type of game.
Yeah. So do you think I'm thinking too much into it?
Yeah, because they just again the makers of Call of Duty, they're really good at making these kind of games.
Because
They're gonna give you tips on how to get good. I remember Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2, within the menu, they had the devs giving tips.
yeah, for this one, you actually maybe they might add that in because there's a lot of rumors and some data miners were able to find out specific information that there was some code written for solo mode and duo mode.
Well, that's the big thing now that everybody wants solo mode. What do you feel about that?
I think it's gonna take away from what makes Apex Legends really shine. It's that 3v3 action because the moment to moment action, there are some moments where you're just running around, you're not engaging. And there was one match, our team won. Okay, mind you, there's three of us.
Right?
Only one bullet was fired from our team, and we won the match.
Now, how does that work? What do you mean by that?
What ended up happening was in the match, there's an ammo depot that's hovering over the map.
Okay.
If you land on that specific depot, technically, well, according to some players, that has the best starting weapons.
Okay.
So as soon as you land, people are gunning for this specific depot, and that's where a lot of the hot action takes place.
So that was a hot zone.
That's the hot zone. And I remember specifically, we landed after 2 minutes. There was an announcement: half of the teams have been eliminated.
Oh wow. Okay.
Within the first 2 minutes. You know how much action that is in 2 minutes?
And then, so what? How did you not fire?
So what we did was, since in the game also there's this thing called the jump master. The jump master is in charge of literally pinpointing where the team is going to land. Okay. You have the other two players suggesting areas, but ultimately it comes down to it's the jump master's decision. The jump master is extremely important in this game because depending on where he lands or where he chooses to land the team, you could either find the best weapons or you can find no weapons.
Okay.
I was the jump master. There was another kid. He must have been like a high tier player because he says land. It was a specifically random area.
But it was too specific.
It was just like, why would we land there? And the guy said, trust me, just land here. And I'm like, all right, I'm taking your advice. So when we dove out, he's like, all right, right before you land, break off, because as you're diving as a squad, but you have the ability to break apart.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, but why would we do that? We need to stick together, because if we land in the same exact spot, there's going to be at least one of us that's not going to have a weapon.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm sticking with you because obviously you know what you're doing.
Early on in your early day?
Mind you, no, this was, I think I played roughly around 20 hours. This is about 10 hours in.
Okay.
We're playing, we dive in, we land, we split, we find good weapons. This guy knows. I'm like, okay, I'm sticking with this guy. I found a high tier LMG and a shotgun. And the guy's like, you always want at least one close range weapon and one medium to long range weapon.
Right.
So we landed literally on the other side of the map. And it just so happens by luck that we were in the safe area. Because you know how the map eventually gets smaller? It just so happens that the area that we landed in was the final area.
Oh, wow.
So technically all we did was just sit there for the entire match. And everybody came to us. And next thing you know, I'm sitting there and it just shows you are the champion. I hear one gunshot and it was the guy, he had one of the strongest sniper rifles in the match. Because you can see there's these care packages that get dropped in the middle of the match.
Okay.
He found one, and he found like the strongest sniper rifle in the entire game. It's pretty much a one-shot kill if it's a headshot. He must have gotten that headshot.
Right.
Because we're standing there, boom, one shot, boom, we're the champions. Not one, two of us didn't fire not one shot. It was not one guy, and it just so happens we were just extremely lucky.
And you know what we say?
It's better be lucky than good.
Yeah.
There have been matches where I dive in, and we're a relatively good team. 3 minutes into the match, I have yet to find one weapon. 3 minutes is way too long.
Yeah.
And I'm running around. I'm picking up grenades, shields, syringes. I'm like, and then the one weapon I pick up is a handgun. I'm like, and those are kind of like the growing pains that you have with battle royale games. You start off really well, or you start off where it's like, I'm in some serious danger.
Now let me ask you, how's the gameplay with their teammates?
It's a hit and miss.
Okay.
You definitely have some players that play the game the way it's supposed to, and of course you have some players that
They want to do their own thing.
they want to do their own thing. You dive out of the jet, and as soon as you dive out, they're already breaking apart. They're landing on another side of the map, and next thing you know, they're the ones getting killed first, but yet you're the one that sucks.
Now, it's not if somebody gets killed in your team, the entire team loses. It's not like that, right?
No. You have the opportunity to revive them.
Okay,
If you don't revive them, you have to pick up their dog tag or whatever, their icon. Then you have to go to an actual zone where you can actually have them respawn in the match.
Okay.
So you have two opportunities to, if the reviving doesn't go well, then you actually have to pick up their tag and you have to run to a location. And they show the locations on the map where you have to input his tag into a machine and then they airdrop him into the match.
And is it worth it or not? Because I would assume everybody knows.
You kind of have to, because if you're going into a match, and it certainly has happened to me, when you're 2 against 3, you're gonna have a rough time. So you need. But then again, there was one match where both of my teammates were dead, and I was able to eliminate 3 of them.
Okay, so it's not
because I was able to use my terrain.
Right.
And since I was Wraith, I was able to kind of like to teleport behind them, kind of like what Tracer does in Overwatch.
Right.
I was annoying them to the point where they didn't know where I was coming from. So
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Or you just got to get extremely lucky.
I mean, so you have both games. You only have a limited. You know where I'm going with this.
Listen.
And I can ask you which game is better. Because that I do realize they're very different. But you haven't spent any time with Anthem.
As it stands, I've spent more time in Apex Legends than Anthem.
No, but Anthem you just bought, 2
Anthem
days ago.
Bought. And I'm with you on Overwatch. So I really haven't had the time. But then again, like I said, I'm pacing myself with Anthem. I don't want to rush through it and be like, I don't have anything to...
Right.
I want to... Not everybody, like, you haven't gotten it. I know Gabe hasn't gotten it. Mario said he was going to get it. He didn't get it. So the game is really geared towards playing it with your friends. It's just much more enjoyable. It is. It's more enjoyable.
I mean, that's like Destiny.
Yeah,
or the Division.
Now,
it's just better with people that you know.
If you're basing it off of fun factor alone, I would have to go with Anthem. If you're basing it off of fun factor.
Is it just because of the max and stuff?
Yeah, it's solely because of the javelins. Dude, come on, you played it. You were laughing. It almost seemed like you were happy for a moment.
A little bit.
That initial, and I'm going to say this again, that initial thrust when you jump in the air and you boost when you start flying. It's that same feeling you get when you hear the thud of Kratos' axe hit your hand. It's that same feeling.
There's definitely a weight to the javelins.
Yes, there's weight to the javelins, and I appreciate all those small things that make it good, but at the same time, there's a whole bunch of small things that they didn't do right that sort of accumulates to it, kind of like in finance. It's not the big purchases that'll kill you. It's all the little tiny purchases that add up. Those are the things that'll kill you. And that's the best way that I can sort of describe Anthem. It's all the little things that they're missing, or the little things that they kind of misstepped on that a lot of people are focusing on, which I don't think it's fair to Anthem to give it such hatred, because, it's just the way games are released now. It's not fair to Anthem. It really isn't fair.
But I guess
it's not fair. But to be fair,
you can only judge a game by what you can play right now, though.
Exactly.
I will say that. I mean, they're asking you for money right now.
No, you're right, and I paid full price.
But you're right. You're right. You have to look at it almost like an investment.
Yeah, and the good thing is, BioWare has just recently released their roadmap for 2019.
I was about to ask you that.
Okay, they just released it. It's on. I believe it's on their website. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Just so you can see.
What they have planned.
What we have planned. Okay, obviously they have quality of life improvements, rewards, challenges, daily, weekly, and monthly challenges, which are currently in the game. Okay, you have the store refresh, which is pretty much cosmetic items. Now, March 2019. You have a new cosmetic item called Elysian Stronghold Cache. You have new rewards as far as items. Legendary missions will be introduced as part of Phase 1. Okay, this whole thing I'm reading is called Act One. That's what they're calling it. There's another free play event. They still haven't named it yet.
What did that mean, free play event?
When you actually go into the world, there's these thing called free play events, kind of like the random events from Destiny.
Okay.
That they have like the best loot. Well, not the best loot, but
Good.
yeah. But the thing is that why they call it a free play event is the fact that it's supposed to change the world.
Okay, I got you.
Like the actual world that you're playing in. And I know there was a free play event during the demo, but we just missed it.
Okay.
Another free play event called Outlaw Rage. Free play event, additional information. That's all in March. Now we're in April. It's called Stronger Together. There's an expanded progression mastery system, meaning it's going to go past the 30 level limit, I believe.
Okay, almost like Destiny again.
You go
like
past
the light levels.
Yeah, you go past the light levels. New rewards, more free play events. It looks like the information is locked away. There is going to be additional stronghold challenges, which are kind of like the strikes from Destiny.
Okay.
A new stronghold will be added. Phase 2 of legendary missions will be added. They're gonna add leaderboards, and they're gonna add clans and guilds.
Okay.
That'll be interesting to see. I want to see the rewards that they have for the guilds. Now we're going into May of 2019. The Cataclysm starts. It's supposed to be this massive event that takes place within the world.
Okay.
Called the Cataclysm. It's very, very dramatic. Let's see, another free play event, new missions, new reward items, and then they have Act 2, which is grayed out, which means they probably just don't have any information.
Right.
There's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and that's all for 2019. So look, there you go. There's the bookshelf, and now you have all these little things that are eventually going to fill that empty bookshelf.
Right.
So I'm sorry,
it's
but
there, but
it's there, but you just gotta give it time to let it grab you. Like, look what happened. Look, happened with The Division, happened with Destiny, happened with No Man's Sky. It's gonna happen with Fallout 76. Bethesda also released their roadmap, and it's just these type of games. You can't judge it based on the first week, first month, first 2 months. You can't. It's not fair to the game.
Speaking of The Division, they have a free beta.
Oh yeah, we're ready. You know what? And I'm glad that we're going to participate in the beta, because I am shocked that I am not sort of eager to be jumping into this game, even though I have 321 hours logged into Division 1. How can I not be sort of eager to play Part 2? I still.
I mean, we did see the trailer. It looked from 3, I think, right? It looked similar. I think you've seen some of the streams as well.
Which I do have to give them credit. They have very good, I guess, I don't know if you would call them announced streams or the State of the Division is what they call it, right?
Okay.
They constantly keep the community updated on what they're working on, which I admire that about them. Even if it's something small, they're still going to say, hey, listen, this is what we worked on. It's something small. It's a little adjustment, but we want to let you know that it's there. We're listening. And I really do appreciate that.
They do a good job. They have the podcast as well.
And I've listened to them, and they have done a tremendous. They definitely learned from the first division. They definitely learned.
How do you feel about? I think I asked you the other day. How do you feel about the classes? Instead of, part 1, they would just kind of do your own thing. Now they have specific classes.
I'm okay with the specific classes. I mean, you see it in Anthem. They have specific classes as well.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that having people assign specific roles is going to eliminate the confusion that we had playing the Division. You had one person who's like, well, wait, what build are you using? What build are you using? And there was this sort of disorganization within when you're trying to do, what were they, the incursion. Somebody always had the wrong build because you just weren't communicating as to how to properly set up. And even for the incursions, if you have the wrong build, you got punished for it.
Yeah.
So I think
you're right. I actually didn't think about that, but you're right.
I think that class system is going to eliminate that confusion. And that's why I'm like, okay, class system, I'm on board. Because each person is going to have a specific role now. Like I said, we're not going to be able to really look at it or judge it properly until we get into the game.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it, actually. Because I am, we did put our time into the part 1.
Oh, so yeah, we did. We did. And
I'm not sold on it. like I'm with you as far as I'm not sold on
Yeah,
it
I'm
yet.
just not sold on it. I don't know
But
why.
I think this is gonna be we're either gonna be sold or we're not with the beta.
No, but this is going to be a good thing. You know why? Because if I'm going into it like how I went to it with Anthem, I'm going to allow the game to be like, okay, show me what you got.
And
Instead,
they can have a lot. They
yeah,
can
and
have a couple missions,
yeah, they're going to
free
have,
roam. They can have a lot.
which as I'm reading that, I'm like, okay, they're saying all the right things, but it's ultimately I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
get
yeah.
into the game and be like, okay, now it's your turn. You got to show me what you got because I'm going into it with little to no expectations again. It worked for me with Anthem, so I
I mean,
hope
but the
that.
only thing is we did play part one, so we kind of
Yeah, I know. You know what? We can go into the whole thing with the division and what we liked and what we didn't like, but for the most part, Division 2 is here. Do you remember what the first division was released in 2015 or 2016?
we're seeing 16.
Okay, so 3 years. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah, because usually the development cycle is 2 years. So yeah, I mean they did give us a hefty amount of content for the first division.
They did.
I would have liked to have seen more story-driven content, but for the most part, you know what? It's okay. I mean, I would have liked to have seen the Upper East Side, the Upper West Side, somehow go back to the Bronx, but unfortunately,
Yeah, once you left the Bronx, that
that
was
was
it.
it. That was it. It was just the introductory mission. You had such an iconic landmark like as the backdrop, and it was just the introductory mission. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. I mean, you felt like it could be a little bit more, but what we got, it was good. We spent so much time with it. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put it down now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree. So we're coming to that point of the episode where we have to say our goodbyes. Oscar and I have to go back and somehow we have to salvage our season in Overwatch.
I mean, it's over, but we'll
Yeah,
do
but
what we can.
we have
We'll
to
do what we can.
we have to salvage it somehow. We
Yeah,
gotta
we will.
get back.
I'm
So
confident.
you can go ahead and visit us on www.levelbasedgaming.com.
Follow us on podbean.com. Follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
My name is Felipe Parada, and with me is the Overwatch Overlord himself, Oscar Portillo.
And we're out.